today we have some special edition book boxes and subscription boxes to go through. Obviously it's a lot, so let's get into it. This month we only have 2 of my subscription boxes that have arrived. All of the rest are late, so I decided that I would just pair these boxes with all of the special edition books that I've ordered over the past many months that have finally come in. I'm surprised that they all conveniently came basically at the same time. So yeah, lots to open. And let's start with the Illumicrate. All of these are just books or book sleeves, so hopefully it'll be relatively quick to go through. This one is A Fire Endless by Rebecca Ross. It is the next book in the A River Enchanted series by Rebecca Ross. I have yet to read the first one, but I figured if I liked it, I would be bummed if I missed out on the sequel because they are matching. As you can see, it does have sprayed edges. It does not have art on the reverse side of the dust jacket, but it does have a pretty hardcover, and it has illustrated end pages, and it is signed by the author. This is a sequel, so I don't really want to get into what it's about because I don't want to spoil myself or you, but I'll tell you a little bit about what A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross is about. So on the back it says, "Your presence is required at once for urgent business. Please return to Cadence with your harp upon receipt." It sounds like the heiress of the East is aware that if she wants to get back all of these missing girls that have been taken, she needs to find a bard who can help entice the spirits to return the girls that have been taken. And so she ends up calling an enemy or a rival of hers that she knows will be good for the job, and it should be, as far as I'm aware, a enemies to lovers sort of situation. Next, I'm going to go through my Fox and Wit boxes because I don't think they have like end papers or special things like that. Before I get into this, I do want to mention most of the time Fox and Wit just does the covers and not much else, but in my last unboxing I did unbox Prince of the Sorrows by Fox and Wit, and this is actually the original cover design, and this was the Fox and Wit special edition cover. So I had mentioned how much that I preferred this, even though I did like the art on here. I'm happy to correct myself and say that this was actually the Fox and Wit version and not the original, because I was a little bummed with some of the additions that I was getting for the subscription, which I no longer have, although I think I am still supposed to be getting the last boxes for last month, which I haven't gotten yet. I did get the dust jacket design that they made for Babel because obviously this art is gorgeous and there is nothing on the other side, but I was able to get this without the book, which is good because I have like 3 copies of Babel right now and I haven't even read it yet.
Oh wait, hold on, ignore that I said I have 3 copies. Spoilers.
Also, I should mention that I am currently dealing with a throat cold, so if I sound really weird, that's why. I apologize. All right, and then I also ended up getting the Book of Gothel. I do like this cover design. It also includes a little book plate note from the author. The book has deckled edges, and it also includes the original cover. No fancy end papers or anything, and just a regular book cover. Everyone knows the story of Rapunzel and her tower, but do you know the story of the witch who put her there? Mary McMain's spellbinding debut novel reveals the truth behind the fairy tale, the truth they never wanted you to know, as only a witch might tell it. All right, and then the next Fox and Wit book box. So for in here, so it does come with this pin, and then I ended up getting the hardcover Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan, which is a Black romance author most of the time.
Wait, what? She's not always Black, apparently. I think what I was trying to say is that she might not always write romance. But that did not come out right.
This is the original cover. I do really like the photo that's on it, but I don't really like the composition and colors necessarily, but the more I'm looking at it now, the more I'm liking it. So I do kind of wish there was a character on their version. This one does also come with a signed book plate, a Spotify playlist, and a letter from the author, which is really nice. I do actually like that they also include the original covers with their cover designs. Such a bummer when you prefer the original cover more than the special edition cover. So Talia Hibbert calls this a masterpiece. I have read books from Kennedy Ryan before, and she's a really good romance writer, but definitely, at least the books that I've read from her, are more on the heavy-hitting, borderline dark side of things, so keep that in mind. This one says, their love was supposed to last forever, but when life delivered blow after devastating blow, Yasmin and Josiah Wade found that love alone couldn't solve or save everything. Like magnets, they're always drawn back to each other, and now they're beginning to wonder if they're truly ready to let go of everything they once had, or could they even be better the second time around. Now, I am going to admit that I don't know if I'm a big fan of like second chance romance in general, but I do want to give it a shot, and it does sound interesting. So like maybe it'll be up my alley, maybe it won't, we'll see. And then the next one is The Secret Witch of Kriegspiel. And for some reason it comes in a plastic bag. I'm not sure why. It is a lot more like small and compact. It almost feels like it's a journal and not a book. And then it looks like it has the special edition hardback cover as well. So yeah, I'm not sure if one of these are the original designs or not. This edition does come with a ribbon bookmark, which is nice. And this one, I have no clue what it's about. It says on the back, if you're going to kiss me anyway, you'd better make it a damn good one. Anna didn't want any part of the long-standing tradition of priests marrying untamed witches. David was supposed to be her friend. Then for reasons he concealed, he trapped her at the altar. Anna must gain David's permission to become the first witch student at the esteemed university. David makes effort to win his wife's affection, but Anna has a few surprises of her own. Can enemies become lovers, or are the secrets that separate them too great? Dum dum dum. I'm going to do my book of the month. For this box, they ended up giving us a freebie bonus book. So I ended up picking Babel as my main pick because I wanted a more affordable version that I wouldn't feel bad annotating, since I only had like the really expensive Fairy Loot and Illumicrate special edition. So this is my third copy of Babel just so that I can annotate it. I know, I was originally just gonna go to a bookstore or Amazon and get like the paperback, but they're so expensive right now, so this was the most affordable way to get it. And Babel or Babel is about a orphan who is brought to London, who starts to train in Latin, ancient Greek, and Chinese, all in preparation for the day he'll enroll in Oxford University's prestigious Royal Institute of Translation, also known as Babel. And this, as far as I'm aware, deeply talks about colonialism and racism, prejudices, and a lot of the struggles that minorities face, especially in higher education. I believe it qualifies as dark academia, even though I don't think it centers around a death, although I'm not entirely sure, but I do think the topics are probably going to be dark enough to still count. I hear it's very slow and there are some problems with it, but it is thought-provoking and just really well researched and executed in terms of the academic aspects. So I am super interested in getting into this. Then I also got, I think this was one of last month's picks, The Cloisters by Caddy Hayes. This seems to be a story about a woman who ends up moving to New York thinking that she's gonna go and work at this normal museum, but ends up at this kind of weird gothic museum that has a eccentric cast of researchers that work there that are interested in divination and tarot and all things magical. As she is trying to indulge them, she ends up discovering something which ends up bringing her into the center of a dangerous game of power, seduction, and ambition. edition. So that sounds definitely fun. I love the dark academia and witchy vibes that we're getting here. I think that's going to be an interesting read. And then my freebie book was Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. There were a couple of options. I think they were like the 2022 Book of the Month Choice Award winners or something like that. And so this year there was a bonus book. Usually you only get a max of 3 books, and this one was actually free. So I got to get it in addition to my normal 3 picks. Okay, this one, on a bitter cold day in the December of his junior year at Harvard, Sam Masser exits a subway car and sees, amid the hordes of people waiting on the platform, Sadie Green. He calls her name. For a moment, she pretends she hasn't heard him, but then she turns and a game begins. A legendary collaboration that will launch them to stardom. These friends, intimate since childhood, borrow money, beg favors, and before even graduating college, they have created their first blockbuster, Ichigo. Overnight, the world is theirs, not even 25 years old. Sam and Sadie are brilliant, successful, and rich, but these qualities won't protect them from their own creative ambitions or the betrayals of their hearts. Spanning 30 years from Cambridge, Massachusetts to Venice Beach, California, and lands in between and far beyond. Yes, it is a love story, but it's not one you have read before. First, I'm assuming it doesn't follow the traditional romance structure. A lot of people like it. I'm interested in giving it a shot. And then the last book that I ended up getting was Sky Falling by Mia Mackenzie. This is by a Black author. It is about a woman who had sold her eggs when she was like 26 and broke, and many years later when she's basically approaching 40, one of her eggs, or the girl that came from the egg, comes and finds her, and basically her life is turned upside down when she has this other person enter her life. That definitely seemed like an interesting story. Time for the fairy loot boxes. So this one is the subscription book. This one is Bad Blood, and it is the fairy loot edition of A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. I did read this in October. This edition does have gorgeous end papers. I loved the book so much that when I realized that we were going to be getting this copy in my fairy loot, I decided to keep it because I wanted to see what the special edition looked like. I wanted the bonus pages. I was just really excited about it. So we've got this red alternative cover design. I'm not a fan of this. I really prefer the indie cover design over the new version, but I do know they have a bunch of bonus stuff included in these, so I wanted to get that since I enjoyed the book itself so much. This one has a illustrated hardcover design. It is very dark, kind of hard to see the art. It also has illustrated end papers, and this is a story of Costanza, and she is supposed to be one of the first brides of Dracula. It's basically a love letter that she's writing to Dracula after possibly murdering him and explaining why she did what she did. And it talks about issues in the marriage and the relationship and manipulation and all of these problems. It's her basically taking back her power, and it's written in such a lyrical and beautiful way, especially the beginning of it, because it's almost as if she's writing this letter and she's scrapping it and starting over to figure out the best way to tell this story, her truth, and why things happened the way that they did. I'm excited to have this copy, and I'm excited to see what the bonus material and chapters and such are in here. Next up, we have The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber, and this is the sequel to Once Upon a Broken Heart. This is one of the standard editions. I actually got this off of Amazon when I saw that it matched this version, because I'm not a big fan of the new covers that they're doing for it, and I definitely wanted to get these. I am a little bit sad though that obviously one of them has sprayed edges and the other, because I don't have the special edition edition of the original, but they do go together, so I'm not too mad. Once Upon a Broken Heart is about a girl who is in love with a man who ends up getting engaged to her stepsister, and with her broken heart she turns to the Prince of something or other, some dark prince of love, and she makes a deal with him, and he agrees to stop the wedding if she promises to give him 3 kisses that he can request at any time. Obviously, lots of things happen, adventures ensues, and I ended up reading this, had a great time. I'm really excited to continue and see what happens in the next installment. As for the book itself, we have this gorgeous cover. It does come with reverse art along with foil design on the cover and lilac stenciled and sprayed edges, plus some pretty end papers. And it is signed by the author. So I'm super happy about this one, especially because I know I liked the first book in the series. All right, and now we get to the last box, Chunky Boys. And this is part 1 and 2 of The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. They have gold sprayed edges, and they're admittedly kind of underwhelming. They are on the small side, as you can see, compared to a normal book, but they are super chunky. No special end papers, no stenciled edges, no special covers. Of course, I had to end on a sour note. That kind of sucks. There's nothing wrong with them. I'm just a little bit sad. I was expecting a little bit more from a special edition book from Fairy Loot. I am excited to get into more Brandon Sanderson, especially because I am going to be part of the year of Brandon Sanderson, as I did back his Kickstarter, and starting next month I'll be getting monthly boxes from him. Alright, so these are all of the books that I ended up unboxing. Be sure to include a lamp or candle emoji down below to let me know you made it this far. If you'd like to see more book content, you can check that out here, or reading vlogs here. Otherwise, I will catch you in the next one. Until then, bye! Of course I did. I should have done these empty.